everyone, today we're getting straight into our photo shoot with India Rose, Lydia on makeup, and Dan filming the behind the scenes.
If you stand just here, there's like a nice patch of sunlight, and I'll shoot kind of this way. I want to get a little bit of that tree in the background. That's so pretty.
I'm shooting today on the Sony a7 IV and the GM 50mm f1.2, and I'm going to share with you reasons why you should consider having a 50mm prime lens in your portrait photography kit.
I just had an actual teardrop just fall from my eye. Woo.
The reason I'm inspired to make this video today is because recently I have been loving the 50mm focal length again and reaching for it at so many of my recent shoots. First and foremost, whether you are a beginner photographer or a working professional, every camera and lens manufacturer has their own version of a 50mm lens to suit your needs. Whether you are after a budget, high-end, cine, vintage, or a 50 with creative effects, there are so many options to choose from. While I'm using a high-end 50 in this video, you absolutely do not need to spend this much money in order to capture great photos.
Do you want to rest your head on your arm on your head? Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
I have other videos on my channel where I use some of the cheapest 50mm lenses available and show you what kind of results you can achieve, and I'll leave those linked down below if you want to watch after this video. This brings me to the fact that a 50mm prime is usually one of the cheapest wide aperture prime lenses in general that camera and lens manufacturers offer.
And then do you want to do a shot sitting on the floor as well? I have literal tears just constantly running down my face. Or even, oh yeah, like that, like one crossed and one kind of out. Yes, that's so nice.
The second reason is versatility. So a little bit of background to this point. When I upgraded to my first professional camera many years ago, the Canon 5D Mark II, I could only afford one lens at that time. I knew I wanted a prime lens for the image quality and sharpness, to have a smaller and lighter lens compared to a zoom, and to be able to capture dreamy looking photos. But I also needed a prime that's versatile since I didn't have any other lenses to switch to for different shooting situations. At the time, I was photographing lots of portraits, fashion photography, live music photos, family shoots, and second shooting for weddings. I decided to go for the Canon 50mm f1.4, and I'm really glad I did. I ended up using that lens for an entire year straight, doing all those genres of photography to be able to save up and purchase a second lens to add to my kit. So if you find yourself in the same situation, a 50 prime is such a versatile focal length for different photography styles. It's not too wide where you'll struggle getting too close to your subjects to be able to compose your shots. It's not too zoomed in where you might feel limited sometimes with having enough space to move around in. I also love how during a portrait session, it's easy to capture a mixture of shots from full body to mid-length to close-up. Reason 3 is 50mm is a great lens to capture dreamy photos.
I'm not actually getting like the bench in the shot. It's like a cool place to put your arms.
What I mean by dreamy is basically this style right here where you have a shallow depth of field, so only a small part of the photo is in focus and the rest is blurry. You can achieve this by using a lens with a wide aperture such as f1.2, f1.4 or f1.8. While you can achieve this look with any focal length and a wide aperture, what makes the 50 special is it's a great in-between portrait lens, giving you just enough bokeh to make your photos dreamy, but it doesn't blur out your background enough that you can't tell what location you're photographing in, even when using it wide open. I'm a big fan of incorporating my locations into my portrait photo shoot, so being able to see parts of the background is important in my work, which the 50mm focal length helps me achieve. A wide aperture is handy in a practical sense too. For example, when you're taking photos in a busy location. Whether there are a lot of people around or the background is looking too distracting, with a prime 50mm lens, you can shoot with wide apertures to have the background look more blended and seamless. I also choose to use a 50 when the location doesn't look too special or amazing. I make use of depth of field to add a little bit of magic back into the shot, making the spot look more whimsical.
Jump in a bit closer. Oh, this spot is so beautiful.
So as I mentioned, I actually have been falling in love with the 50mm focal length again recently, which is what inspired me to make this video.
Oh, I like that with your arms up like you're putting your jacket on. Oh, it's really cool.
While the 50 was my first lens and I loved it for a really long time, when I discovered the 85 and 35mm, they quickly became my favorites, and I heavily used this combination for years and years up until literally a couple of months ago. I almost never reached for a 50 because it seemed too in between, and I wanted to go either wider or more telephoto for that drama in my photos.
And do you want to try one? If you could like kind of hold on to the tree as well. That looks awesome.
Well, I've come full circle now because I have found myself reaching for the 50 in my camera bag more and more. There are times I don't want the distortion of a wider angle lens like the 35, or I don't need to incorporate so much of the location, or it's not really working for the style we're going for.
Wanted to get a shot with the sun like on your face as well.
And switching to an 85, sometimes you don't have the space to be working with a telephoto lens. The compression of an 85 can change what someone looks like, and you still end up with pretty dreamy looking photos even when you bump your aperture up. So a 50mm is the perfect in between, which I'm finding is coming in so handy for my photography recently. Speaking of compression, reason 4 you need a 50mm lens is because it's a flattering focal length for portraits. A 35 is a wider focal length, and while you can achieve amazing results with it, it's difficult to capture those close-up headshots as it can distort faces when you get too close to your subject to compose the photo. On the other hand, telephoto primes such as the 85mm can flatten faces too much in a photo. So the 50 is great for being able to capture a realistic portrait of someone without changing the way their face looks too drastically.
Okay, if you could stand just here on this rock. I want to see if I can get a little bit of that. Please stop. Please stop. This is so dangerous. Yes! Okay, that looks so cool with the water in the background. Can you keep an eye on the water, Lydia? Maybe stay on that rock instead. I can move back. Oh, this is such a beautiful shot here.
The final reason you should think about using a 50 is exactly why I started to love using it again after not being interested in it for a few years. And that's if you're feeling like you're in a creative rut with photography or you want to get re-inspired. One of the best ways to do that is by bringing in something different and fresh into the mix.
And then do you want to try one? Oh, over the shoulder is nice.
I am so used to working with a 35 and 85mm lens combination in my shoots, and it just became a routine. So when I decided to start adding a 50mm into the mix again, it was so fun and exciting. You can also bring this inspiration back into your photography by setting limitations on yourself. If you're used to heading to a photo shoot with a bag full of lens options, try starting off the photo shoot with a 50mm lens to see how creative you can get. Try taking as many photos, compositions, and angles as you can with just the 50 before you switch lenses.
Maybe, yeah, with your hands up, like kind of looking over your shoulder there, isn't it? Oh, do you want to stay on that rock? Because I like that tree in the background too. And you seem safe up there. Oh, that looks so cool. It's just water in the background.
Let me know if you use a 50mm in your photography in the comments, but that is all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I will see you all next time. Bye.
Go jump over. Oh, okay, you're okay.